Lord, He can lead us in the prayer. He can lead us in the prayer.
Let us pray. God, I just want to thank you just for this blessed day that you blessed us all with. God, we thank you for who you are and what you are in our lives. So God, we pray, God, that everything that is done here is done in decency and order, God, and that it reflects who you are, God. And God, we forever give you praise, honor, and glory. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Here.
Commissioner Lucker? Here. Mr. Myers? Here. Officer Stone? Here. Mayor Hill?
Here. Before we get started, under new business, we have to add one thing to that we left off, is we've got a garbage bid due for our garbage pickup, and we do have a bid that we do have to open tonight and vote on that. It will be under new business. All right, so approval of minutes, previous meeting, May the 13th, 2005. Have a motion to approve.
Make a
Everyone had
motion
chance
to-
Look, I'm sorry. Motion by Commissioner Allen. Matt Stone, Commissioner Stone, second.
Commissioner Allen?
Yes.
Commissioner Douglas?
Yes.
Commissioner Myers?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Stone?
Yes.
Mayor Hill?
Yes. Citizens' comments, Ms. Milhite.
Hello, everybody.
You got the podium, please, ma'am.
Give me a minute to get organized, please. Where were you at the work session when we had a nice discussion of the library and the history of the library? You should have come. I could have told you all about it. How the library opened in June of 1968. And we have had a very successful period with the library. I don't know when the Marion County Library Board was formed to serve the three libraries, but just let me remind you, South Pittsburg was the first library in the county, and then the other two followed suit. I am concerned about our library for a number of reasons. We have a director over two libraries now, and in the past year, she decided to move her office to South Pittsburg. And they took $32,000 out of the operating budget. It's my understanding, I may be incorrect. They took $32,000 of the South Pittsburg budget to build her an office. Not only did they build it, but they put it in a space. She rearranged it where she wanted it to be, and it cost more money to build it and supply it with power and everything. Another thing I'm concerned about is, and you know about it, is the abrupt termination of our recent librarian. I don't know if you were in the library when she was there, but she was doing a good job. She cleaned out stuff that had been left in place for years. We all get that way when we get to retirement. We're just a little too tired to pick it up and put it away. She went to the Tennessee State Library and Archives to an institute called the Tennessee Public Library Management Institute. It was a 20-month course. The week she was to graduate, she was terminated. I don't think we need to stay with that county library system anymore. I think we're old enough and strong enough to have our own library and library board. There are 3,106 people in South Pittsburgh for the 2020 census. There's 1,641 in Whitwell. I don't know what else to say, but I hope that you will support the idea that we do like Jasper and get away from a county board and to go on down the street. Thank you for your time.
Mount Bethlehem requests to close street.
How y'all doing? My name is Tony Mangiamelli. I'm a member of Mount Bethlehem Church. My pastor Lamar Jenkins is over there. We just love this community, and we love the people in our community. And we want to hold a festival, a Unity Festival, where it's going to be a fun little cook-off for the community to bring everybody together. We'd like to have a request to block off from the Main Street from 4th to 5th, if that's all right. We're going to have a fun little cook-off for everybody. We don't know if we're going to do a barbecue or a chili cook-off, but it's going to be for the firefighters, the police officers, and a few churches in the neighborhood. Have a little cook-off amongst each other, but really to bring the community together. There'll be a lot of fun things for the kids to do as well. So we're just asking to really, just if we have permission to block off the streets so we can.
What date is that on, Tom?
August 9th, I believe it's on a Saturday. And it's going to be between 2 and 7.
Make a motion.
Any reason to oppose that, chief?
No, sir.
Okay. Go ahead. All right.
Second it.
Commissioner Allen?
Yes.
Commissioner Duggar?
Yes.
Commissioner Myers?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Stone?
Yes.
Mayor Hensel?
Yes.
Thank you guys, I appreciate that.
Anyone else have public comment?
Yeah.
And it has to be something on the agenda, don't forget.
Hi, everyone. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Pam Colley. I've lived in this community for 10 years, and I'd like to speak about the library. I appreciate you taking the time to hear the community, commissioners and mayor. The Bean Pearson Library is a great asset to South Pittsburg and its residents. Just look at the crowd that is drawn to the summer reading program. It truly is a testament to how the library serves us. The Marion County Commission is asking the city if they want the South Pittsburg library funds to be distributed directly to the city or filtered through the Marion County Library Board for the fiscal year 25-26. The County Commission needs our answer on or before June the 30th, 2025. I believe the city should take control of the funding earmarked for our library. Historically, the Marion County Library Board has not always distributed the funds evenly across the libraries under their control. You have the opportunity to take control of our library funding and the assets of the library. Taking control of the funds will ensure that the citizens of South Pittsburg receive their share of county taxpayer funding. Currently, our library receives $68,000 a year from the library board. Seceding, yes, I said seceding, from the Marion County Library Board may mean those funds are increased to $97,500 a year, as we won't be contributing to the salary of the Marion County Library Board Executive Director. In addition, the equal distribution of funds would mean that South Pittsburg residents are not paying for the Whitwell employees. The monies solicited here in South Pittsburg specifically for Bean Pearson Library are guaranteed to stay here. But time is short. This decision needs to be made now. Please make the right decision for the library patrons and all citizens of South Pittsburg. We deserve the funding to take our library to the next level. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. My name is Christine Van Hammersveld. My comments are also about the library and your decision to form your own board. Tonight, the City of South Pittsburg has an opportunity to take control of its public library and determine its future well-being by choosing to form a South Pittsburg Library Board. The ability to ensure strong fiscal management and oversight should inform this decision. Therefore, I would like to present some points to consider. First one is Tennessee Code 10-3-111, the Financial Report of Operations. This requires library boards to, quote, furnish a report to the county or city legislative body at its first meeting of each fiscal year, setting forth its capital and operational receipts and expenditures for the preceding fiscal year. I submitted public record requests to Marion County Mayor Jackson's office and to Henry Lodge, the Marion County Library Board Chairman, asking for copies of this report for 2018 through 2024. From the county, I received budget information, not the report. And I was told that the county doesn't get any other reports from the library board. Marion County Library Board's response was that financial record requests are handled by the county mayor's office. So I can only conclude that the library board does not provide this state-required report. Second, the Marion County Library Board annual audits are available for anyone to read on the Tennessee Comptroller's website. For at least 3 years, the audits have come back with significant deficiencies. The 2024 audit cited 2 significant deficiencies in internal control and compliance. One was for documentation, transactions not entered in sufficient detail. The second for spending over budget by $7,140. The lack of accurate and detailed financial documentation is a reoccurring annual audit finding. Other problems over the years include purchases made without board approval, library credit card used for personal use, checks written without 2 signatures. And tied to the June 2024 audit is the letter from the Tennessee Comptroller regarding the discrepancy in reported covered payroll amounts. You also all already know about the approximately $17,000 in donations intended for the Jasper Library that was claimed by the library board. So the question here for all of you is, does the Bean Pearson Library Director determine how to spend donations, or is money used elsewhere? Then there is the Tennessee Comptroller's investigation back in 2018 that resulted in the indictment of the Whitwell librarian. 2 questions for there. The library board allowed the library director to continue working for several more years, and I'm wondering why there was no board financial oversight and what should have been done to prevent that. Finally, I did a little digging, and based on the following quotes from city leaders in a 2017 Chattanooga Times Free Press article, the concern here in South Pittsburg regarding the library board's financial management is nothing new. And here are 2 quotes. South Pittsburg has no say-so whatsoever in the purchasing and funding decisions made at the library, even though the city puts more than $40,000 per year in its budget. And my favorite, all municipalities in the county have the same concerns about the Marion library system. They have no say-so. If they want to take the money out and spend it on balloons, they can spend it on balloons and nobody can question it. So, in my opinion, it's maybe time to make a change and for all of you to decide to guarantee local control with the South Pittsburg Library Board. Thank you for your time.
Anyone else?
Hi, guys. I would like to let you all know that I have not filed a lawsuit. There is a rumor going around that I have filed a lawsuit against the Marion County Library Board, and this is inaccurate. I have, however, hired an attorney. I would like to let you know that 350 people or more have signed a petition to reinstate me as library director for Bean Pearson Public Library. That's about 10% of your community. Bean Pearson Public Library has been without a library director leadership for more than 2 months. I strongly encourage the City Commission to accept money being offered by the County Commission to fund our library. There is no guarantee Bean Pearson Public Library will get their equitable portion if the city does not take the funds. Thank you.
Anyone else? All right. Next agenda is communications from the mayor. I've just got one thing. I would like to thank everyone for thinking about me in the last month, praying for me, cards, letters, calls. Appreciate it all. Thank you. I'm doing much better on the road to recovery. My wife's thankful for that. That's all I've got.
Welcome back.
Vice Mayor? Commissioner Allen?
Yeah, just before we go to the new business, I would like maybe Mr. Council to help everybody understand the financial situation at the library about who gets the funds, the MOE, explain the MOE, and when the funds from the county, and can the county hold the money from the libraries, South Pittsburg, Whitwell, and Jasper. Can you explain to everybody that what we've been told and for the last few weeks we've been dealing with this?
Well, Mr. Allen, I'll be glad to answer any questions that I can answer. I'm not exactly sure what all has been said or what's been told. But as I think most everyone.
Stand up, we could hear much better, okay?
I'll be glad to stand if that will help, or I'll just talk louder, maybe that'll help. The arrangement where Marion County has a countywide library board, and the 3 cities of South Pittsburg, Jasper, and Whitwell participate with the county in the functioning of that library board, has been around in some capacity since the mid-1950s. I know the library in South Pittsburg hasn't been here that long, but that relationship has existed for that long. Historically, the way it has worked and the way it is currently working, with the exception of the town of Jasper, which pulled out during this fiscal year, the county commission appropriates funding to the county library board, and then that library board makes the ultimate determination on how those funds are allocated or distributed to not just the 3 libraries we've talked about so far tonight, but there's also a small amount of that money that goes to the town of Mont Eagle, because there is a library up there also. That library is also funded by Grundy County. I'm not sure if the town of Mont Eagle contributes money to that library, but I suspect they do contribute something. So I don't want to leave them out because they are a part of that funding formula. I don't know if during all the years that this relationship has existed, whether each of the 3 libraries has always received an equal amount of funding. I think there's been an effort to do that, but I think in certain years there has had to be some slight deviations in that, whether it was for matching of grants, whether it was for capital improvements that might have been one-time expenditures, whether it was for equipment, whether it was for repairs to buildings, that kind of thing. You know, I'm not gonna pretend to know what all's gone on over the, 60 plus years that relationship has existed. But I have checked into some of the decisions that have been made by the library boards in recent years, and I think it has been their overall intent to divide those funds relatively equally between the 3 main libraries in the county that the county funds. The town of Jasper did decide to go its own way during this fiscal year, which they have an absolute right to do, just like the city of South Pittsburg has an absolute right to do if that's what this board decides is in the best interest of this city. And I'm confident that the county commission is aware of that right as well. So the questions, Commissioner Allen, if you have specific questions, I'll be glad to try to answer those instead of just giving the overview.
Yeah, one specific, I guess, the financial thing, I think we have a few people that's concerned about financial for the city. There will be a gap once we do our budget, if we vote to withdraw from the Marion County Library Board. There'll be a gap of July through October that we would have to budget the MOE money that is destined or allocated for the South Pittsburg Library. In October, the city commission or the county commission will vote and make a decision how much funding they were to distribute between the three counties, cities in the county, correct?
Well, let's back up to the beginning. I want to make sure everybody that's here understands what the MOE means. The MOE is maintenance of effort. It's a maintenance of effort agreement that is signed off on by the county's libraries, the cities that participate of Jasper, Monteagle, South Pittsburg, and Whitwell. They all have their own maintenance of effort agreements with the state. The maintenance of effort requirement under state law is if you're a local government that has a library and provides library services, you are required to maintain that financial effort from year to year. Just to use this as an example, if the city of South Pittsburg gives $50,000 a year for library funding, it has to continue that same level of funding in future years. You can only reduce it if you have an across-the-board reduction in your funding of all your other departments of city government. So that's true for the county, it's true for South Pittsburg, it's true for Jasper, so forth. And that's been the law for a number of years, and that's all overseen through the Secretary of State's office. That's the way it's set up to function under Tennessee state law. And so when the budgets are passed, and I wanna say correction, because I just wanna make sure that this is understood. The maintenance of effort agreements go into the state every year in October, but the funding is voted on in the budget. So when the county commission meets on June 30th to set its budget for the 2025-2026 fiscal year, then the library funding will be determined at that time. Same thing that you all are doing now. You know, your funding for your library, as it stands right now, is in your budget ordinance that you're going to pass on second reading tonight. So you all are obligated to fund at least what you funded last year. You can increase it, but you can't decrease it. So that's the way that's part of the system works. As far as there being a gap between July 1 and October, I'm not sure that it would actually work that way. I think to some degree it may depend on how the county commission ultimately decides to fund the libraries countywide going forward. If you all attended the last county commission meeting, there were some discussions and a couple of motions made, but subsequently withdrawn, where there were, I think, intentions to do some direct funding to the cities as opposed to the county library board. And then there was another one where there was partial funding to the library board and then partial funding to the town of Jasper. I don't pretend to know what direction they're gonna go when they ultimately vote on it. That's up to them. That's why they're elected. They make those decisions, talking about the county commissioners. But one thing is certain, the funding that they provided last year, and Henry, I don't wanna put you on the spot, but I think it was around $304,000 is roughly what the county provided.
For all three?
Yes, the total to the library.
It may have been.
Is that accurate?
$300,100.
Yeah, okay, roughly $300,000. So they will, okay, they will be obligated to fund at least that amount for this fiscal year. And, you know, if you all decide to stay with, as a participant in the county library board organization, one thing is going to have to be done, and that is a somewhat restructuring of the county's library board, because Jasper has now pulled out. And I do know there's, I think, one vacancy on the library board right now, and then a couple of seats are going to come open, Henry, is that correct? In this next fiscal year, so those are gonna have to be addressed, you know, at the county government level. So, did I leave anything out?
No,
Commissioner?
I'm good, I'm good.
Anything else? Commissioner Dover? Commissioner Myers?
Well, I talked to Will, a week or two ago, and he was talking about how that he had sent us I say email, but text, I was talking about asking if we would look at our, vacation policy, the way that the water and gas has got theirs. And I wondered if, Michael could look and see what the water and gas has got and compare to what, our employees are getting on vacation time and how the leave is set up. And then also, I've been asked about speakers. Well, when Mr. Sharp talking about, couldn't hear, is there anything we consider about microphones or speakers or anything, where the people could hear better, or just speak up?
We've talked about it several times. Would you check into that?
Yeah, I can give Mr. Garth at the water company a check on his policy and see how it differs with ours, and then I can bring it to you guys and see.
Yeah, and check on
Yeah,
something for sound.
yeah, we can look at his sound system, absolutely.
Anything else? Commissioner Myers, anything?
No,
else?
I'm sorry.
All right, City Administrator Michael Hudson.
All right, so, on June second, I received a call from Mr. Jason Farmer, with Stone River Construction, and it followed up by an email, and, Mr. Farmer and Stone River is prepared to make an offer on 38 land lots that we have down in the south end of the city near Irondale, where the new public works building is. And, Mr. Farmer is here today to speak with the commission, and give details about what such an offer would look like and their plans on developing, that area down at Irondale. And if I can, turn it over to Mr. Farmer.
Yeah, thank you. Jason Farmer, Riverstone Construction, Riverstone Development. I am I'm a real estate developer in Chattanooga, but this will be our first project in the city of South Pittsburg. We do have some things going on in Marion County. Just a little bit of background. We were brought into this project a little later, maybe by a previous city council had worked on your site with a surveyor, Danny Dancy, and an engineer by the name of Mark Heinzer. I've communicated with both of them quite a bit, and had drawings for. I'm really unsure whether it's been through Planning Commission or not. I don't. That was my thought. So it sounds like it hasn't been under Planning Commission. It's just a concept plan at this point. We've looked at it. I've spoken to your Public Works Department and talked about water and sewer. I do have a purchaser for these lots, which would be, I'm a home builder, but I also build for other home builders. I would sell these lots to a very large builder. What we've made an offer on is the 38 lots that face Chance Road. We would, if we were able to purchase it, we would come in and build all the infrastructure. We would put the additional sewer line in, additional water line in, of course, clear the lots, do everything that is required in your subdivision regulations, everything that's required by the state and TDEC for water erosion control, all of those measures, and build building pads, and then ultimately I would sell it to a large home builder to build these houses, using a number of $300,000 a house, and we'll see what the market does. But that at the South Pittsburg city tax rate, I think that was a little north of $30,000 a year into the budget, and then of course, it was close to a $500,000 offer that we offered for purchase. I used $12,000 a lot, and then we would come in and build all the infrastructure upon that. This is something I think the city designed and paid for with Mr. Dancy and Mr. Heisner, and we were kind enough to be brought into this project and are super interested in it. We're seeing a large growth in residential markets in different counties. I work in a number of different counties, and I hope you consider it. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. I realize this is a large project for the city, that you don't get a lot of subdivision developments. It's something that we know very, very well. I've developed literally thousands of probably 1,000 lots plus. And I'm happy to answer any questions. We are 100% committed to go through every step of your process, from planning commission, subdivision regulations, city council approval, and all the building of the infrastructure.
How many acres?
It's a good question. I'm a number of lot guy, not an acre guy. The site, quite frankly, is larger than that. If it works, we'd love to consider purchasing some of the rest of the site. This is with not a whole lot of new homes being built in South Pittsburg. It felt right to look at these 38 lots first.
So will you're gonna build, if we approve it and agree to it, you will make the lots, the pads and everything.
Yes, sir.
But the structures, the house structures, will somebody else come to us and say, some of them will be 2 bedrooms, some of them be 3 bedrooms, some of them be 150,000, some of them be 400,000?
And my home buyer builder is here tonight.
Okay.
And can go, they have plans and renderings that they can show you, but no, these would all be single family houses, garage, 3-bedroom plus, things that I think that you would, things I think that you would be proud to have.
It's my understanding, Mr. Farmer, that, in this offer you made with the city, you would be 100% responsible for the infrastructure, correct? And all
Yes.
that includes, I think, in the past, and I, of course, wasn't here, but, some of the bids in the past, offers in the past did not include that. And I just want to make it clear with this offer, it's all the infrastructure is done.
You 100%, all of the infrastructure costs would be on me. And I think this is a good point. There's a due diligence period in our contract that, and I had not worked with Mark Heinzer before, but, or Mr. Dancy, but I've spoken to them. I would certainly, want to hire them. I have a proposal from both of them if this was to work. I wouldn't close on the property with the city until I had a fully engineered set of civil drawings that met my pro forma and met your standards to be able to build.
What's the build out on these?
The build out on my side or the home
The
side?
home side.
It's obviously gonna be a little market driven from my experience, with this buyer. 38 houses would be less than 24 months from the time they close the first house.
The rest of the property, would y'all auction on it, or?
I just tried to make this real simple. I don't know you guys yet. Yes, if you like, I mean, that would be my preference. On something like this, I just tried to keep it simple, and y'all get to know me, and I get to know you guys, and your public works team, and that kind of stuff. So, if an option is a possibility, I'd like to consider it, but it certainly was not something I put in my offer to purchase.
I think in the contract, you said 30 days to decide. And I think if this body decides to do this tonight, it would be contingent on an appraisal, of course. so it may take a little bit longer than.
I don't think my offer was contingent upon it. I gave you 30 days to make a decision.
Yeah,
If you
that's
need,
what I mean.
if you need longer than that, that's great. I certainly don't need a land appraisal value, to purchase it.
No, we wouldn't need.
You would, okay,
Yeah,
sure.
on the city side, yeah.
Yeah, however long you need. I'm here, this is what we do every day. So, we have a number of these projects going on, so if you needed longer than that, that's certainly fine, and, I would imagine Mr. Attorney here is gonna mark my offer up anyway.
Well, just one thing, one comment, just I wanna make sure the folks here at the meeting understand. The reason for the appraisal is to make sure that they're selling property at or near its fair market value.
Sure.
And, one question that I have, and it's difficult to tell from the attachment, the size of the lots, are they 100 feet wide and 150 feet deep, or are they smaller than that?
They're smaller than that. I believe they're 75s.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that.
I'm just
I
trying to-
I would have to
somebody that's
refer
acreage.
to Danny Dancy on that, but I believe they're 75s.
I'm on the planning commission.
75 by
Are the lots the same size?
110.
Are the lots all the same size then?
There's a few nuances in there, but most of them are the same size.
There's a few that look a little larger than that. And those are the two corners. Am I
Yeah,
correct?
and what will ultimately happen is when we get with the surveyor and the engineer, and we get with, I'll pay for wetland studies and determinations and delineations, and we'll deal with the any stormwater issues where we have to control stormwater. This plan will almost 100% change. I don't know what it's gonna be until we start going through the process.
Somebody had asked a question about acreage, so based on those estimates, it'd be, 8 acres or so.
Yes, sir. And I'm happy if you wanna make it a condition of approval I can do a boundary survey of just the land that we're interested in. That would be easy to do and provide for you.
Based on, you said the 38 lots, probably 8 acres,
Yes,
maybe a little bit more, but how much more is down there that, does anybody know how much more is down there that would be considered for something else, or
It was 38 acres before we built our shop.
38?
38.
It was actually 41.
Well, that was before the fire department took their piece too. So the fire department took their piece, then we took our piece. There was 38 acres, from what I remember Gene saying when we started our bid.
I know that you're about, selling the property to do this, but I would encourage whoever's responsibility it is to not load every acreage up there with just houses. These people are gonna have a lot of kids that live in this area, and I think they need a playground down there instead of just playing in a small yard that circles their house. So, I mentioned that before, and I know that playgrounds don't generate any money, but I think it's important to have the continuity of that in that area with that many houses, because it's a long way to Lloyd Park or, Moore Park.
That's the reason I was asking. With the 38 houses being built, say all 38 get built, how much is left over for us to consider putting another area?
I think we got 20 acres left between there and Public Works one, so we got plenty of.
We got plenty, okay.
Yeah, we had told them that when we first started, wasn't it 125 acres that we talked about?
Yes, sir.
I mean, lots, not acres,
Yeah,
lots.
I knew what you meant. Yes, sir.
Okay.
That were in there, so that, they could potentially do, what is it, 187 more homes.
Yeah, I'm not saying we wouldn't do something for 38 lots, and I build communities, and it's something that I talk about a lot with my team, and we talk about a lot when we buy land, is that we're building places, and it's not just building, just streets and that type of thing. And so if we look at a larger development, we would certainly look at open space, dog parks, playgrounds, that kind of thing, as things we consider. I'm not crazy about pools just because it runs the HOA cost up a whole lot, but certainly open space and playgrounds and that kind of thing on a larger development would be something I would do whether you asked me to or not.
What y'all pleasure? I'll make a motion that we approve it based on contingencies of appraisal and proper permitting and the 30-day due diligence.
I'll second it.
Commissioner Allen?
Yes.
Commissioner Duggar?
Yes.
Commissioner Myers?
Yes.
Councilmember Stone?
Yes.
Mayor Henry?
Yes.
And I would like to add, I've already, regardless of this being voted on tonight, I've contacted Carter Appraisal.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead and start that process, because it needs to be appraised regardless. So, he has, indicated to me that it would be done prior to our next meeting.
So, if I may,
Yes.
I guess a couple things. On the appraisal issue, for one, we want to make sure that they were just looking at the 38 lots.
Yes, that's correct.
And then, and I don't know if you want to add this to your motion or just for my benefit, I would like to meet with, I can't read your name, Mr. Attorney.
Gallagher.
You and Michael, if we could meet I'm gonna be out of town for a little bit, but, in the next 30 days, if we could meet just to discuss, there's some contract language I wanna make sure that you're okay with, and, I hope this is a long relationship, so I wanna get it off to a good start. So if we could, in the next, maybe I'll contact you, Michael, and just get together on a few little nuances.
That's not anything we need to add to the motion.
No, Michael and I can do that, no problem.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, thank you.
Oh, is it back to me? I'm sorry.
Yes, sorry.
All right, so the next thing on the agenda is Princess Theater Management. Before we start talking about those two bids, I just want to give a brief update on the Princess Theater. We've been doing some repairs down there on the lift, and we've had the elevator, of course, inspected and cleared by the state. The lift, on the right side of the stage, the motor was burnt out on it. So I have TK&E, ordering the parts for that, and they're currently working on it. I'm not sure when that'll get completed, but, that's under works.
Is that, you ordered a new motor?
Yes.
Did you call who I recommended to have one repaired?
I tell you why I didn't do that, Mr. Allen, because I'm not sure what the liability would be on a rebuilt motor. Should that thing malfunction on somebody and then do on that, if that makes sense.
That motor was underwater. It was flooded.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, it was underwater.
I would have a heart attack if I saw that building in the water. That's my favorite building. Anyway, so we had two bids, and I think this has been ongoing for some time, since way before I got here. And, I have to say this, I read over these bids, thoroughly, and I met with all individuals. I consider them both friends and good people, good citizens, and I don't think we could go wrong with either bid here. One stood out over the other one as far as detail and background, as far as the performing arts, social media, and technical experience. And, at this time, that's the bid I would like to recommend to the board, to go forward on, and that would be, Carrie and Wesley Brewer. And, they're here tonight. I'm sure they'd be willing to answer any questions. And I can also answer any questions that you guys might entertain. You have any questions?
We have them.
Yeah, well, and I know everyone involved, and I know this is one of those decisions where your job, it's tough. It's tough, but I thought about this one long and hard, and this is the contract I wanna present to the city and, the city board, and I would hope we get a motion and approval to move forward. And I'll answer any questions. I think everyone here has a copy of that contract. There was a small tweak on that one. They initially asked for a 70-30, was it 70-30 split on the revenues? That's now, been changed. All the revenues brought in by the Princess Theater would go straight into the city, but there would be no split, just a flat, fee to, Mr. Terry Wesley Brewer for the management of the Princess.
So did the fee change
No, the fee did not change.
of what we saw in the last proposal for now?
That part did not change, but what we had discussed was doing the Princess Theater would have its own budget, and then all of the money that comes back, that would be an expense budget, and then all revenue that is income, there will be no split. All of that money will go directly back into the Princess to help fund the next year's budget.
Now, this is one of those things where it's a blessing and a curse. We're very blessed to have a building like the Princess Theater. Most cities do not have a building like that. But it's also a curse on my side of the table, because I have to figure out how to manage the thing. It's not like operating, say, Will's department or the chief's department. There's a lot of moving parts, and I'm just gonna be transparent. It's not gonna make money the first couple of years. It's not gonna happen. Actually, I met with the theater, what's his,
Joe
manager? From McMinnville today, because in my time in government, in budgets, I've not had to deal with a theater. So it's new to me, and there's a lot of moving parts, and it's gonna cost a lot of money up front to get this thing working. But I think if we do it, and we do it correctly, in time, it'll benefit the city greatly. It's gonna bring in tax revenue, it's gonna liven up downtown, it's gonna provide money to your local businesses, and I have a passion for the arts myself. So this is one of those budgets I can guarantee you I'm gonna come back mid-year and need more money. Because I grossly underestimated the cost of what this theater's gonna have to be. We're gonna have to have money spent in this theater for it to be successful. We're gonna have to book acts, we're gonna have to work vending, and there's a lot of things that's gonna have to go into this building to make it successful. And I'd be glad to answer any questions, you might have, but I can guarantee you that if we do this right, it's gonna be beneficial to the city. And I'll take any questions from the public or concerns.
Anyone on the board, questions, anything, motions?
I'll make the motion to go ahead and hire Carrie and Race Brewer to manage the Princess Theater.
Second?
Commissioner Allen?
Wait, did we get a second?
You just second it.
No, I said, I was asking for a
Oh,
second,
I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry.
I was like, you just did.
So I do have a couple questions. So we'll have to budget up front for possibly a couple of years, the fee to pay them.
Well, you're gonna have to, that's not the only thing, Mike, with the theater, like I say, it's a little different, it's a moving budget, it's liquid. So what I mean by that, I guess that's my own words, their salaries are set, okay, what we're gonna be paying them. Where it's different is we're gonna have to have a line item in the budget to pay for booking acts, paying for vending, and those costs can fluctuate. Depending on what act you might bring in or what performance you're gonna have to pay. And you're gonna get some return on that, but it's not gonna make money the first year. Maybe not even the second year. It's, but it's, it's one of those things, we'll have to see how we can do it.
I'm all for it, but, I mean, you know, financially from what we've been through, you know, and what we're going through, going ahead and guarantee somebody some money, and then we gotta budget possibly extra money that we don't know.
Well, I can guarantee one thing, it's not gonna make anything sitting there empty. And we're gonna have to pay
I
to keep
agree
it
with
going. And you're gonna bring money into your local businesses as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we sit there and let that building sit empty, that beautiful building, or you take advantage of it and help promote your city. And that's where I'm at.
May I?
Yeah.
So, my name is Carrie Brewer, for all of you that are not familiar with me. Here we are again. And so, Wesley and I actually were in the McMinnville Theater a few months ago, and it's almost creepy how similar it is to the Princess Theater. So I talked to their manager, Joe Harvey, and that's when we decided to completely change how we wanted to present this to the city. Wesley and I, if you know us, you know that we care about the arts. We are Jasper people. We live there. I'm not. I'm from Chattanooga. I don't care. But we really just care about the arts. And there's a theater sitting down here unused. So we met with Joe Harvey, who is a full-time employee of the city of McMinnville. And they have 2 full-time employees and 2 part-time employees. They are a complete city entity, which I know is different than what we had the last time we tried to put someone in to manage the Princess. And after talking to Joe, I really understood why they do it the way they do it. And Joe will tell you, he's been doing this 10 years, and they don't profit, they break even. Because the goal of that program is to bring arts into the community, bring tax dollars into the restaurants and hotels, which hopefully, you know, I know South Pittsburg doesn't have hotels at this moment, but, you know, bring in those tourist dollars. And so it's not a money maker. It is a bringing life to your community. Because right now your main street's dead. And that theater's sitting empty, and it's not doing anything except probably accumulating some ants and dust and maybe some mold. And so we just want it to be used. And, you know, that's what we ultimately want for that theater. That's why we've talked so much to McMinnville to see what they're doing with their theater. There's different ways to bring in acts. And I know, you know, we booked the entertainment for the Cornbread Festival, and musical acts are very, very expensive, more expensive than you could ever even imagine. And so that's a huge challenge. Everybody wants a name. Everybody wants that Shania Twain, the Morgan Wallen. And I know you think, like, some of these people, Ricky Skaggs, okay, yeah, they're old. They haven't had a hit in years, but they're still in the $30,000 to $40,000 range. And so, but there are different ways that we can work that with splits, you know, splitting with a promoter, splitting ticket sales, just charging a rental fee. They just had an individual, he's really young. I think he's in his 20s, but he won an Elvis competition from the Elvis Presley family. Like they do a competition there. And he just paid them a rental fee and a box office fee. And, you know, they walked away with that bit of money. He walked away with a lot more, but still it brought people into their community. It had them eating at their restaurants. And that's ultimately, I think, the goal of this theater, is to have people in this town, in this community, on Main Street, just here, you know, when we have events open. And so that's the best explanation I can give. We have a great radio station that we can work with, newspapers we can work with.
I think at McMinnville, they also partner up with the local restaurants to do vending, and that was a great idea he brought forth, and I think that would be good.
Yes, they do. The vending, the concessions, popcorn, drinks, candy, that is all done internally through the city. So that would be something, you know, we budget, you kind of have to estimate, and it's going to take us a year or two to determine how much do we estimate for concessions each year, because we don't know. People will shock you how much popcorn they'll eat. It's an obnoxious amount sometimes. You know, it'll take us a little bit to determine what our exact concession budget should be for the year, and so that might require a little flexibility. Should I bring up the other thing?
Well, the one thing I like about operating it this way is the budget is overseen directly by the city.
Yes.
So, you know, that's a much better way to do it. And she's talking about the other thing is the sale of alcohol. And the way they do it in McMinnville is they allow their local businesses to handle that. And they come in and set up during an event and they sell the alcohol themselves. That way you're not making the local restaurants mad, those folks selling beer, they do. And that's a big draw because some of the people who's called me, since I've been here wanting to rent the theater, that's the first thing they ask.
Yeah.
Would you allow alcohol?
There are artists, a lot of artists, comedians that will not perform if you don't sell it. It's not a huge moneymaker for them, and they're like, you'll sell less than you actually think. But they do use local restaurants. They call it an on-site, off-site permit, and they, you know, cut a deal depending on the event, what they do with that. But yeah, we've learned a lot from them. We haven't had a solid plan for that theater since I've been here. You know, the Historical Society has tried to manage it, and you just run into all these roadblocks. And I think this is the most clean cut way to do it, is for us to be a contract employee from the city, and it be a city budget item, and we make work what we can. If we get sponsors for, you know, movie events, or get, you know, X bank to sponsor a concert or a concert series, that kind of thing. But it's really just bring people in
what
here.
she's saying, you know, what you have in your city is only as strong as everything else in your city. So working together, like she said, there's a radio station. I mean, I don't know if you knew what WPG was 20 years ago, but like this man sitting right here has turned it around completely in the past 10, 15 years, and it's insane what he has done with the radio stations in Pittsburgh. And like working together, these great tools and resources that are in this community, Ms. Carolyn Milhauser knows, like the opportunities are endless, but it's not gonna happen in a day. It's gonna be a learning curve. Like you said, the manager at McMinnville has been there 10 years, and he's like, my goal is to break even. He was like, in some years, I don't. In some years, we do. He said, but we have something here for our kids. We have something here for our elderly. We have something here for our middle-aged. We have classes. We have workshops. He was like, there's something for everyone. He was like, and it may pack the house 3 nights in a row, or we might have 20 people in the front row for one night. He was like, you just don't know, and every year's gonna be different, so that's where the fluidity comes from.
And I guarantee you, you're being run through the city, I won't allow what happened the last time you guys contracted that.
Thank you.
I promise you that.
Thank you.
And one requirement, you have to give the city manager front row seat to every show. I'm only joking.
All right, let's get back to we have a motion. Do I hear a second? I'll second.
Mr. Mayor, could I address the commission on this topic?
Have a motion, second.
I promise to keep mine probably under a minute.
I'll allow you a couple of minutes.
Okay. Like I said, I'll keep mine very brief. Having performed in the Princess Theater here in South Pittsburgh, it is a wonderful, wonderful asset to the community. What hasn't been talked about here directly is the cultural aspect of bringing these acts into the city, how this can improve the culture and give our opportunity to develop people like Mr. Brewer here. Because with this as an example for it, people wish to continue to perform and improve in the arts. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Armory update.
All right, next, Bill and I, you guys gave me the permission to go back to the drawing board, meet with the architect over the Armory project and renovation. I did so. Bill and I met with the, architect, Mr. Wintermer from Tinker in Chattanooga. And this is very quick, it was a very productive meeting. He is currently redrawing the blueprints to move the mental health piece, which he had drawn up to go on the outside of that building and a new construction into the current footprint. He's confident that we could cut some costs there, and, he's gonna come back to me once those blueprints have been drawn, and they will get a contractor to look at those blueprints and give us a cost estimate before we move forward. So if there's more adjustments or things that need to be changed to lower the cost, then we can do it at that time and then put it back out to bid. But at this point, we're waiting on the architect to get back with us on the new plan. Bill, would you like to add anything? No. That's all I have.
Mr. Minor?
So the only thing I have on the street side is we're gonna change our name from the street department to the forestry department with all the rain and storms and that. All we've had time to do is mow and cut trees. On the park side, we're still working on the ball fields. We've got an event planned for the 4th of July here on the tower stage from 4th to 5th. There'll be fireworks, games for kids, and food for the community. Y'all come out and enjoy us.
What time?
5 to 9. Thank y'all.
Police department.
I have nothing to add to my written report to you.
Thank you. Corey's not here. Mr. Guard?
Yes.
Wait, Will's got something else.
I did miss something. So I had an employee resign. Today was his last day. He turned his 2-week notice in a couple of weeks ago. We've identified a new guy that we would like to hire. I'll let Mr. Hudson speak on that.
Yeah, we, like Will said, we had a gentleman leave street department, we have an opening there. And, I would like to recommend that we hire Mr. Jeff Huff starting July 8th, which will be in the new budget year, to replace the gentleman that's leaving. And Will, you can speak to his background and experience.
Yeah, so he's been locally here. He's employed, really not say, but so he has the CDLs. He's been at the same place for I think 16 years.
I was gonna say 15 years at least.
Yeah, he's seems like a good guy. He's a hard worker. From everybody I've heard from, that's gave recommendations for him. I think he'd be a great fit. He with that said, I think we're actually going to save a little money in our budget by doing this because we're hiring him in as an operator where we had a crew lead resign. So I think it'll all work out. We're going to be a little short-handed for a while with the summer months rolling around, all the mowing and weed eating, and of course him resigning will be short up until July, and then it'll take a little while for him to get his feet under him and get going. But I think it'll be good.
And I would like to add to that too, just a quick update on the highway department. Parks and Recs are together now, so I'll do that. We just added new, cameras in down at the building. They went operational today. Also, you've got to thank Will and his crew for the work they're doing at, Lloyd and Moore Park. We're finishing up a grant at Moore now. We put exercise equipment in. This coming week, we're gonna be entirely resurfacing the courts up there, putting in pickleball and, striping it for basketball as well. And at Lloyd, we've applied for a T-Mobile grant, the amount of $50,000. And we're still waiting on our big diabetes grant, $450,000 that got, the date got pushed down to July 1 before they announced the awards on that. I just got that word today. So, we're trying to focus in on our parks and get them back to where they once were and give our kids somewhere to play ball.
So just to piggyback off what he said, pickleball's really a big deal. I seen a guy, and I know several of the citizens play here in the evenings, but we were up there working the other day and we saw a gentleman walk up and he was from, Pikeville, maybe? He was from Pikeville. And he come up and he said, hey, I heard there was pickleball courts around here. And I said, well, kinda. I said, we've got some makeshift ones right down here on the tennis courts. I said, but we're planning on putting permanent ones in. And he said, man, that's great. He said, you can't find a place to play. He said, there's nowhere that you can just go openly play pickleball. So it kind of bumfuzzled me when he said it, but yeah, I think it's going to be a great thing. You get them at Moore and get some at Lloyd. It'll be a good thing.
And also, I want to quickly mention in the new budget, Will and I got together and we're offering an incentive for our employees to get CDLs, which will be $1 an hour raise on their pay once those CDLs have been completed and turned into my office. And that will take effect in July.
One other thing that affects you, the clock. I talked to Jarvis today.
I seen them out there working.
They're wanting, that $4,000 number keeps popping up. That's what they're wanting for the parts to repair that clock.
Oh, yeah.
And he's trying to find someone, since he can install that, he's trying to find someone to rebuild that. He's having trouble with it. That's where the clock is.
So we good on my employee or no?
Well, they've got the mayor needs to vote on the new employee and closing the road. I think we forgot to do that.
We can vote on
We voted on closing the road.
No, for
Fourth
the
of July.
No, for the
Fourth
Fourth.
of July?
Yeah.
Yeah. Motion to close the road for 4th of July?
We do. We have one on the,
No.
No.
I make a motion to close the road on the 4th of July and hire the person that will need.
Can do a second. All right, motion to close the road, do I have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Allen?
Yes.
Commissioner Duggar?
Yes.
Commissioner Myers? Vice Mayor Still? Mayor Hill?
Yes. All right, Commissioner, motion to hire Mr. Huff.
I'll make the motion.
Second it.
Commissioner Allen?
Yes.
Commissioner Duggar?
Yes.
Commissioner Myers? Vice Mayor Still? Mayor Hill?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Jarvis.
I'm just gonna let everybody know that, due to our third-party billing agent, you have not received your water and gas bills on time because they just packed up and quit. We are in the process of hiring another third-party billing agent. We are currently billing those out of the office, so if your bill look a little strange, that's why. I say probably the bills that's due on it's got to be paid June the 15th, where we will receive a water and gas bill. So just bear with us. We have the third party, they're running tests at this point. So if you have any questions, we waive the late fee at this point until everybody get a bill.
We thought it was
So
free.
just bear with us. No, it's not free. Unfortunately, I want to be able to come back and visit with you guys next month, so it's not free. But bear with us. Anybody got any questions? I apologize for any.
What if we have the bill on auto pay?
Excuse me?
Auto
It
pay?
won't affect auto pay.
Okay,
Won't affect auto
that just
pay.
come out
This-
like it was?
Yeah,
Okay.
yes. The bill is actually due regardless if you receive the bill or not. You read the fine print. But as a courtesy, it being the third party's fault, we thought we would wait the last 2 months, so. But if anybody has any questions, just let us know. The meter installation project on the state revolving loan has been completed. We still have the old meter, so if anybody's got a complaint about their water bill, we can prove that the last reading was official. So we plan to keep those about 90 days, just to, keep, so we can reference back to that. And I'll speak with Mr. Hudson about the vacation policy, but we have the same one the city got, other than if you've been there 10 or 15 years, you get 1 more week. We don't accrue time hourly. You do it by your anniversary date from year to year. The first year you get 1 week. The second year you get 2 weeks. After 5, you get 3, and after 10 or 15, I've been there 32, so y'all forgive me, I forgot. But after either 10 or 15, you get a 4th week. We're allowed to carry 1 over. This one time a year period. You have to get rid of. So that's our vacation.
Use it or lose it.
Lose it or lose it. Yes, sir. Thank y'all.
Everyone should have a library report, building inspector, elderly housing. Parks and Rec we've already done, Princess Theater, y'all will be on the clock next time. Old business. Ordinance number 858, second reading, public hearing, the ordinance amending the annual budget of the city of South Pittsburg, Tennessee for fiscal year 2024, 2025.
Again, this is the amendment to the same budget you guys voted on last time. MTS has taken a look at this budget, they've signed off on it, they said everything looked good. And of course, this is the second reading, once this is voted on, it goes into effective law.
Do we have a motion?
This is the amendment. This is the cleaning up the 24-25 budget before the new year.
24-25. Got a motion by Commissioner Stone.
Second.
Commissioner Allen. Second.
Commissioner Allen?
Yes.
Commissioner Douglas?
Yes.
Commissioner Meyer?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Stone?
Yes.
Mayor Gibson?
Yes. Ordinance 859, second reading, public hearing reading. An ordinance of the city of South Pittsburg, Tennessee, adopting the annual budget and tax rate for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2025, and ending July the 30th, 2026. June, yes, thank you. Yeah.
Second reading. You can recess. Anybody else object to the only part passing?
All right, so we go into a recess now because it's a public hearing, where anyone can say or talk about it, questions or anything. So we're in recess.
What's the tax rate gonna be?
1.74.
Yes, ma'am.
The old El Toro restaurant, I'm sorry, I missed a meeting after you guys said that someone moved in and then something happened, and I didn't hear what happened, that they backed out, is that?
I don't know that, we're talking about this ordinance right now.
Oh, we
We've got
can't,
to do
oh,
this
I just thought,
ordinance.
I'm sorry, I thought
I'm
you
sorry.
were about anything.
Any other comments about the ordinance? Anyone have a comment on, ordinance 858? It's amending the annual budget. All right, we're back in session. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, that tax rate is going to obviously create a substantial, what am I trying to say, surplus at the end of the year. What's it, how are you gonna use it?
Oh, I don't,
Well, go ahead.
go ahead.
Well,
You've done the budget.
Yeah, so, of course, you want to have a healthy budget at the end of the year, because things happen during the year, you don't, and if something happens and we need revenue there to take care of anything that comes up, of course, it would be used for that. We've got, different projects ongoing that we could possibly match grants with. That's one of the biggest things I think we could use it for. We need to look at renovation of City Hall, or looking into buying another City Hall. There's lots of things out there that we need to be in a position to address should it come up. And I think it's good for a city or a county to have a healthy fund balance at the beginning of the year, should those things rise, or we get opportunity to match grants that could benefit the city greatly. Or like I said, we're in need now of looking at either renovating our city hall or getting into a new city hall. So, that would be my answer to your question.
All right, we're back in session. Do I have a motion to approve ordinance 859?
Also move.
Motion by Commissioner Duggar, second. I'll make a second.
Commissioner Allen?
Yes.
Commissioner Douglas?
Yes.
Commissioner Myers? Vice Mayor Stone?
Yes.
Mayor Henson?
Yes. City Administrator Hudson?
All right, vote doc, please, so you guys asked me, last meeting, I brought, vote dog police renewal to you guys. And Mr. Taylor had asked, for his monthly lease to go up to $1,200 a month, including, the land taxes be paid by the city. There was some discrepancy there, misunderstanding on the taxes because Marion County had not pulled that 6.7 acres out of the tax card, so we were unsure on how much of the taxes we would have to pay. And you asked me to go back to Mr. Taylor and renegotiate this and get a better understanding. I have since talked to Mr. Taylor twice, and he has come back with an offer of the $1,200 a month still, but pulling out the taxes for the 6.7 acres only, which would be in the amount of $2,286.90 that he's asking the city to pay towards the tax bill done at the boat dock. So, in short, he's asking for $1,200 a month plus $2,286.90 towards the tax bill. And that's where we stand at this point. And I'll entertain any questions you might have. I think it's in the city's best interest to do their best to keep this lease healthy because it could benefit us down the road. And we certainly don't want, we want our citizens to have access to that loan. That's my thoughts. But I'll entertain any questions you might have.
Questions?
Yes, sir.
The $1,200 would be paid monthly.
Correct.
The tax would be paid yearly.
That's correct. So if you approve this tonight, since the contract is for May, we would have to back up and pay Mr. Taylor for May and June. And then in July, we would begin, in July, we would pay those property taxes. So we would have to back pay him for May and June, and then, of course, the fee starting in July. Because we have paid him the fee of $500 a month for May and June. That's what we were paying before, but the contract started in May, and that's when you guys asked me to go back and renegotiate. So we would have to make up the difference and then start the new contract.
So we were only paying him $500 a month?
That's correct, for many years, Mike, from what I understand. And it's my understanding, and I could not find the old lease. It's been so long ago, I guess the mid-90s maybe, I don't know. But it's my understanding that in that lease that we agreed to pay the taxes then, has been done. But now I can't say that for 100%, because I haven't seen it.
But it's gonna benefit us, like I think you mentioned last time with the boat racing, or not boat racing, but the fishing tournament during Cornbread last time, that it was highly recommended that we do this.
I mean, I think so. I can't foresee, I can't imagine the boat dock being roped off and our citizens not having access to it. That's just what I envision if we don't do this. I think we need to keep this property under lease, and it could potentially lead to bigger things down the road. If we was to develop something like a River Ballpark Park, it might help us in that way.
So
So he's okay with us developing stuff on it?
Well, I didn't say that, I'm talking about if the city was to do a river walk elsewhere, then we could tie into something like the boat launch. That makes sense.
And I think that he said that he would be agreeable to upgrades, but he would want to see what was going on before. I think
Absolutely.
what,